The future of more than 80 young people from Matsamo Cultural Village near the Eswatini border in Mpumalanga hangs in the balance. The village, where they worked as performers, is struggling to attract tourists due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the unrest of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is at the Matsamo Cultural Village and is following this story for us. Mweli, that cultural village used to be one of the busiest tourist destinations in the Lowveld. Gives us a sense, really, of what the place looks like now.
So it's quite sad to come here today and see this cultural village in this dire condition. It looks like a ghost town compared to about 2 years when we came here to tell a positive story of tourism involving young people. These more than 80 young people have been involved in this project since 2014 and they've been earning an income through those activities that are happening here, most of them being performers and some of them actually being educators, taking in those tourists, especially international tourists who come here to at least learn a thing or two in as far as the African culture is concerned, especially Swati culture. But what we are seeing here today is that I can say this place is almost shut down, but we heard from the leader of those young people that have been making a living here, saying that, well, they are not closed at this stage because they are still getting those few bookings, especially from schools around the province, but still that doesn't generate enough income for those people who have been making a living here. And according to some of those people who are involved in this project, well, the COVID-19 pandemic has been the main contributing factor in terms of what is happening here now, because many people are now no longer coming here. In fact, those international travelers, most of them are cancelling their bookings because of those travel restrictions. Well, they're hoping that the situation will be much better after some of those COVID-19 regulations were eased, but it looks like things are not working out at this stage. And another issue, Tsecho, that they are raising is the issue of the unrest in the Kingdom of Eswatini, which is just a few kilometers away from where I'm standing now, because we know that some of those tourists as well who were actually booked to visit the Kingdom of Eswatini decided also to cancel those trips. So that is why we are no longer seeing a hive of activity here at Tsecho as we used to see before.
Quite sad news coming out of that cultural village, Mweli. But what then do we know is the plan at this stage? It is very quiet there behind you. What is the plan? Do they know what they'll do at this stage? Are they going to close down, or are they just going to see it through and see what happens?
Well, Tseko, as you heard from President Cyril Ramaphosa talking about the issue of unemployment, well, he did mention that jobs are going to be coming from government. The business or private sector should get more involved. So what we know in particular with the story is that some of the community members actually to come up with this initiative, they had to take some loans, a few of them, and they refurbished this area so that it's attractive to tourists. And when you look into the fact that there are these young people who were making a living through this particular facility, it's now going to be difficult for them, as we know that jobs are very scarce. In fact, here in the Nkomazi municipality, the issue of unemployment is also a big issue. But what we have seen from the government side, especially the Department of Finance, Economic Development and Tourism in the province, led by Vusim Kachwa, is that they've been visiting different municipalities to try and have engagements with mayors as well as municipal managers about reviving economic sectors in the province, and tourism being one of those. So we are hoping, and these young people are hoping, that those engagements will also involve their plight, because as much as they don't believe that government should be the one that is coming in to this situation to try and help them, they are also hoping that they can also be heard in terms of assistance, even if it's not financial, but the issue of diversifying so that they don't only concentrate on tourism but other economic activities.
Muli Masilela is out at the Matsamo Cultural Village for us this morning, keeping an eye on what is currently taking place there, especially with the life of about 80 young people, their lives hanging in the balance with very little tourism and tourist attraction happening at that village.